Well, this week, the Torah and the beautiful book of Deuteronomy come to an end on a rather depressing note. But we know the rest of the story, what Moses and Joshua died not knowing. So we admire their courage and their faithfulness to God. We can also rejoice that the children of Israel are back in their homeland today and will realize all of God's promises to their forefathers. So we rejoice over the Torah and the revelation of God and His ways found in it. So welcome to this week's Shabbat Shalom devotional, when I seek to share a little inspiration and bring a little peace to the close of your very busy week. This is our final week of reading the Torah, and we end the book of Deuteronomy with chapters 33 and 34. And so we are going to join the Jewish community around the world to close it out with great rejoicing. But first, let's talk about what we're reading. Well, we have to admit, Deuteronomy ends on a very depressing note. Actually, 3 different depressing notes. First, here's Moses laid out this magnificent covenant and all of God's promises for either blessing or curses. And as a result, God tells Moses that the people are going to fail him one day, and fail him utterly. How depressing that must have been for Moses. I mean, the last 40 years of his life have been dedicated to preparing this people to enter into their promised land and live in covenant with God. And he ends his life knowing they're going to fail God. Then God tells Moses to write a song about it. So Moses has to sing a song to the children of Israel in which he talks about how they're going to betray their God. Put yourself in Moses' shoes for just a minute. Wow, what an ending to his life's work. Now, second sad part is that Moses is not allowed to enter the promised land. He can view it from Mount Nebo, but he cannot enter it. Instead, he will die on Mount Nebo, and no one knows where the grave is. So that's kind of a sad ending. And then thirdly, let's think about Joshua. He was told to be strong and of courage, and he's to lead the children of Israel into their promised land, knowing that one day they're going to disobey and rebel and be exiled from it. Put yourself in Joshua's shoes. What a commission. What a calling. Called to a degree of failure. But what a gracious God that he let them know these things ahead of time. The message is, nothing is impossible with God. He sees the end from the beginning. He's got the big picture. We don't. So get on with the call. One day, God would draw his people back to their homeland and fulfill all of their promises, all of his promises to them. Joshua just needed to play his part, which was to take this generation in to possess the land. And he did it. Now, after all this sad news, let's look at the positive. Moses, who died in obscurity, became known as the greatest prophet of Judaism and the greatest leader of the Jewish people ever. And he appeared with Jesus in the Transfiguration in the Promised Land. Okay, so he made it there, just not in his physical life. Now, let's look at the children of Israel. Yes, they sinned and they went into exile twice, but they're back, just as the Hebrew prophets predicted. They are back in the Promised Land, and the final chapter of all history is still to be written. So on this note, we rejoice over the Torah and the amazing story that it tells. On this final Shabbat of the year, the Jewish people close out Deuteronomy and then begin reading the Torah all over again with Genesis 1:1. And they rejoice. They take the Torah scrolls and dance through the aisles of the synagogue. And as the Torah passes you, they reach out and they kiss it. The love of Torah and the rejoicing of the gift of Torah. Well, when was the last time your church took the Bible and went dancing through the aisles? When did they get so excited that they literally rejoiced over the Word of God? Well, now's the time. Try it this weekend. Now, I'm going to see you back here next week for some final thoughts as I bring our Shabbat Shalom series to an end. But for now, I wish you Shabbat Shalom.